What's up guys, in this video we're going to talk about the best high yield savings accounts right now. In the last year or so, you've probably noticed an increase in a lot of people talking about these high yield savings accounts. The reason for this is because of the interest rate spikes, and that's because with the rising interest rates, banks are beginning to offer these high yield savings accounts to match the loans that they're giving out for 7 or 8%. And before we get started, I just want to say that this list is my opinion and by no means is it financial advice. The list I'm giving you is going to be from lowest to highest savings rates, but I've left off some banks that I think are not reputable enough, which leads me to my requirements or my criteria that I have for this list. First and foremost, it must be FDIC insured, which basically means that you're insured up to $250,000 for your bank account. And it must be well known and be available to most people within the US. And I also wanted to include banks that I think offer more benefits than just a high yield savings account. And I also left off any banks that I felt like had a ridiculous amount of requirements for you to use it. Right now is a pretty crazy time because interest rates on some of these high yield savings accounts is comparable to treasury bonds, which is at 4.12%, or a CD at most banks, which is somewhere around 5% as well. A high yield savings account used to kind of be nothing, blasé, and definitely not an investment. And I still don't think it is the best investment, but it might be the safest option right now for your money. So let's get started with Ally, which is our lowest APY at 4.25% right now. Ally has no minimum opening deposit, and it also has a $0 monthly maintenance fee. Ally is a very large and reputable bank, but it is only online, so if you're looking for something that's physical to go to, this is definitely not going to be the bank for you. Ally also has several tools which are really unique that I like. One being the ability to set up recurring transfers, because some banks will only allow you to do it once a month, whereas Ally will let you do it weekly. Because when I get my payment every week, I like to immediately disperse my money, so it's really nice to have a bank that lets me automatically do the exact amount of deposit into my savings account that I want to. The other cool benefit that Ally offers is something called buckets, which allows you to visually separate things into different areas in your savings account. Say you're looking to buy a car and you want to save money, it will automatically allocate a certain percentage of your savings into that bucket that you can buy a car with eventually. The money is still all in one place, but it's a nice way to kind of visually separate where this money's at. Ally only offers 4.25% APY, which as we progress through this list, you're going to see that that's relatively low. But as far as banks go, I think this is a really reputable and really good and solid bank. And if you're looking for something that's not just a high yield savings account and like a regular bank to use everyday life, I think this is a really good option. With that said, let's go on to number 2, which is Amex, which now has a 4.3 APY high yield savings account. To open an American Express high yield savings account, there is no minimum deposit or balance requirements. However, to earn interest, you technically have to have $1 in your high yield savings account, which I think if you have a high yield savings account, I would hope you have more than $1 in it. Another major benefit of Amex I find is that it has unlimited withdrawals and deposits. When you're looking for a high yield savings account, something you want to look for is the minimum requirements or minimum withdrawals or deposits that you're allowed to have. Amex might have a lower APY, but when it comes to restrictions, it's actually one of the more less limiting banks. Another downfall of this bank though is unfortunately that it is only online access. You can't access this account through an ATM. Overall, I think Amex is a really solid high yield savings account to go with, as long as you're okay with everything being online only, considering that there's no opening minimum deposits, no minimum transfers or withdrawals. It's also nice if you already have Amex credit cards, you could build a reputation and continue your ongoing relationship with Amex, which would be beneficial for you. Basically, Amex may not have the highest APY, but it still sports a very versatile and good high yield savings account. The third high yield savings account on our list today is actually another credit card company traditionally, which is Capital One. Capital One has a 4.35% APY, no minimum withdrawals, $0 minimum and no fees. This bank, as well as all the banks on this list, is FDIC insured. There's also no balance requirements on this account. It does, unfortunately, similar to Amex, have no ATM option. I think again that like what I said with Amex still holds true here with Capital One, where if you do a lot of credit card usage with Capital One already, it might be useful to open a high yield savings account with them, considering that you already deal with them on a regular basis. The fourth account on our list is CIT Bank, which has a 5.05 APY. To get that though, to start an account, you have to have at least a $100 deposit, and it also requires that you hold a balance of at least $5,000. If you have a balance less than $5,000, it only gives you 0.25% APY. This should go without saying at this point, but this is FDIC insured. CIT Bank really only made it this high on my list because of the 5.05 APY, and it actually is the highest APY that I will be discussing in this video, but in my opinion, it's not the number one. So up until this point, everything has been directly correlated to the APY and that in accordance to this list. But I think that the next bank account is that much better to where I would feel comfortable putting it ahead of this bank, CIT. But I think if you're strictly after just making money, then CIT is definitely going to be the option for you. I mean, 5.05% APY on an investment is one of the best things I've ever heard when it's this secure. I mean, having a bank account with something like CIT Bank is one of the safest investments you can have with the most possible liquidity. Even a treasury bond or a CD CD, which are going to be hovering around somewhere between 4 and 5% right now, comes with requirements, and you can't usually just withdraw your money that fast. Even though treasury bonds and CDs are quite liquid, they usually come with some sort of fee when you have to withdraw or take back out money. So if you're into really safe investments, this is going to be for you. But if you're younger than 50, I don't see any reason to keep too much money in here where you could put your money in somewhere else like a stock market that'll get you a higher APY on average, as the stock market usually goes anywhere from 8 to 12% every year on average. And I just want to say thank you for watching this video up until this point, and if you've enjoyed this video so far, I would really appreciate if you hit that like button, if you gave me a subscribe. Alright, so let's go to number one, which I believe is the best high yield savings account that you could put your money in today. It's going to be SoFi Bank at 4.6% APY. I think that SoFi is the best bank for many reasons. To start off with, there's no account fees and there's no account minimums. Although there are some requirements to get this APY. You need to either set up direct deposit or deposit up to $5,000 every 25-day evaluation period. One of the reasons I choose this savings account is not just because of the high APY, because I think overall SoFi offers a lot of great benefits. Not only do they offer that 4.6 APY in their savings account, it also offers you 0.5% APY on your checking account. So if you have money sitting around in your checking account on a day-to-day basis, you can earn money on that every month. SoFi also does something similar to what Ally does with their buckets, only they call them vaults. It's a very similar idea where you can designate certain sections of your savings accounts to vaulted areas where you can save for different things. Say you want to save for a car, save for a house. It separates those all out for you while still keeping everything in one place in the high yield savings account. One of the things that everyone I've talked to about SoFi really loves about SoFi is that you get your deposits from your automatic deposits up to 2 days early. Sometimes I even get them same day, which has been kind of crazy. Since I work for myself, I usually ACH my money on Friday, and I used to get it on Monday when I banked at my local credit union. But now that I bank at SoFi, on Friday night, I have my money already. So overall, what is the best high yield savings account for you? Again, this list is completely my opinion, and I think it's something that you need to decide for yourself. CIT Bank is definitely going to be the highest APY, whereas SoFi offers a more complete overall experience for somebody if they bank there. Which is why I made SoFi my number one. But like I said before, if you simply want the highest APY, then CIT Bank is going to be a really good option for you. There's also some other higher percentages out there that I've seen, but when it comes to these really high percentages, I would just be wary of some of these banks and make sure that you're FDIC insured and look at how reputable they are, because you don't want to tie your money up somewhere that's really unsafe. Now may be one of the best times in our lifetime to get these high yield savings account benefits, because these will not last forever and they might go away. I don't know how long these will last, but there's no reason not to capitalize on them while we have the option to. Personally, what I would recommend to do with something like a high yield savings account is park your emergency fund in it. And all the money that you have above that, I would invest in the stock market, just in index funds and blue chip stocks. Because even though these percentages are quite high, there's still a lot of investment opportunities out there that are very safe that will get you a higher interest rate in return. I really hope you guys enjoyed watching this video, and if you did, I would really appreciate if you hit that subscribe button. And again, I just want to say thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it.